Well, in today's video, what we're going to do is we're actually just going to focus in on the upcoming pattern. And we're going to focus a little bit further into the upcoming pattern and take a little bit more of a look into the PNA, the AO, and the NAO, which are our three main oscillations that control whether we're going to see cold or warm weather, or if it's going to go to the west or if it's going to go to the east. It kind of dictates everything in a way. So we're going to take a look at that. It's going to be a little bit more educational, but we're going to start out with our normal stuff here, our precipitation. We're actually switching to the European model here. I just really feel like the European model gives a much higher quality forecast. So I've been going back and forth, but I really like the European model a lot. It's what we used to use every time. We see some snowy weather up here in the northwest to start things out for the day today, and also some stormy weather up here in the northeast, mostly rainfall though, with a bit of a nor'easter developing. And by the time I reach even this afternoon, that will already be pretty much gone. So that's not going to be a huge impactor all day today. But out west, we do see that storminess does continue through the day. Now for tomorrow, this becomes a little bit more of a major snowstorm up here in Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and even the upper peninsula of Michigan there for Tuesday, November 29th there. Now, for Wednesday, the 30th, we do see a cold front reaches the east coast, and this does bring some pretty bad storminess through a lot of different regions here. And we still see some snowfall developing up here in the northwest, so that's just going to continue on through the next few days there. We do see that there is some colder weather behind this cold front. Obviously, that's kind of what the name implies, so that's what's going on here. By the time we're reaching about Thursday afternoon, we can see that the storminess in the northwest and now this kind of central west is still occurring here. Even some very heavy snowfall happening here in the Cascades and for the Sierra Nevadas there especially. Very, very heavy snowfall there. Kind of a common occurrence for that area oftentimes. Friday, December 2nd here, we do see this snowfall does move into the Rockies for a bit here, where it's kind of moved away from the coast and mostly towards the Rockies. By the time we're reaching Saturday, December 3rd here, we see this storminess reaching into the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley primarily here. So definitely that's the area being most impacted by that point. Sunday afternoon, we see a lot of snowiness out west again here, but also some storminess developing across the south central United States and a little bit of some snow showers here in the northeast there for Sunday the 4th. Now by Monday the 5th of December here, we see a lot of snowfall happening here from the Cascades through the Rockies, through into the northern plains, and then a lot of rainfall happening underneath here for the deep south. And then we can see for the Ohio Valley and kind of the eastern central United States there as well for Monday the 5th. Now by Tuesday the 6th here, we see this storm is causing quite a bit of snowfall up here in the upper Midwest. So for Minnesota, Wisconsin, the upper peninsula of Michigan, and again, still just plenty of storminess here underneath for the deeper south into the Ohio Valley and even into the Mid-Atlantic now. And no surprise, we have snowfall once again here for the Northwest. So that is going to be something that's going to be happening a couple of times this upcoming 10-day period. And then we can see by Wednesday the 7th here, which is going to be the end of this model run basically, we see not a whole lot going on outside of the snowfall still for the Rockies and the Northwest there. So we kind of end how we start here. Definitely a quieter 10-day period overall, and most of that snowfall is going to be happening out west. Not a huge surprise. We've talked about in the past couple of videos how the next 5 to 10 days appear to be quite mild, and then it's that 10 days 10 through 20 where we're watching for some potential active weather. First off, very, very cold air, and second off, potentially some snowfall. So let's just take a look at the total precipitation real quickly. Anywhere in the whites, practically no precipitation. Grays, 1/10 of an inch or less. Greens, 1/10 of an inch to 1/2 an inch. Blues, 1/2 an inch to an inch. Yellows, 1 inch to 2 inches. Reds, 2 to 5 inches. And then your browns there, 5 to 10 inches of precipitation. No surprise here that most of that precipitation is happening up there in the northwest. We saw plenty of storminess hit that area, and it doesn't really look to end anytime soon. Now, your total snowfall here through the next 10 days, anywhere in the grays, a dusting, if anything. Blues, 2 to 6 inches of snowfall. Purples, well, actually, you know what? I just realized this is the wrong model run, so let's just extend this through. There we go. That's the next 10 days. Anywhere in the grays, a dusting if anything. Blues 2 to 6 inches of snowfall. Purples 6 to 10. Pinks 10 to 20 there. And then even your pastel blues going to be 20 to 30 inches of snowfall. And your pastel pinks, which we're seeing plenty of for the Sierra Nevadas, Cascades, and Rockies there, that's going to be anywhere from 30 to 48 inches plus. This model is indicating that we have a maximum of 170 inches expected somewhere there in the northwest. Certainly a whole lot of snowfall, an unimaginable amount. Now, for the temperature pattern, let's just play this through. We're a little bit more mild here on the eastern side of things. We have a full-blown negative PNA taking place out west here, and that is dictating our pattern. PNA stands for Pacific North American Oscillation, by the way, so our Pacific North America here. And when it's negative, that means colder temperatures are around. We see that obviously, and this encourages warmer air into the east, and we do see this happening quite frequently over this 10-day period. When it's positive, we would see warmer temperatures out here. So positive, we saw warmer temperatures, and that would force the cold into the east. We obviously are not seeing a lot of that right now. Now by Wednesday, the 30th, we see a lot of warm air racing up the east coast, but we do see this cold front about to race through, bringing that colder air for a little while to start things out in December. So December 1st, Thursday, does appear to be a very cold day here from what I'm seeing. Blues and greens are around, very cold day overall. Now, it's as we reach about the 3rd, we see things warm back up here. The southeast ridge is very persistent in bringing warmer temperatures over and over and over again here. And then by the 4th, we do get a bit of a cool down there, and then a warm up that follows it with that southeast ridge again. So this is by the 7th we get a warm up. And then by the 8th, it looks like some cold air has maybe started to make its way back in. We see a lot of Arctic air sitting over this area, and it's kind of a big question mark as to if it's going to head this way, which happens oftentimes, or if it's going to head this way, which also happens oftentimes, or if it's just going to lift off from that point. There's a few different options, but if we do start to see a positive PNA develop, it could move eastward like that first arrow indicates, and that would potentially cause some warmer air to develop. And here we are seeing that happen already, and that could force this to move further eastward. We'll have to wait and see, so definitely tune in daily with us as we do upload every single day. Here's the teleconnections real quickly. Our Arctic oscillation, which basically in its negative phase means that in the Arctic Circle, it is allowing cold air to exit into other areas like the United States, Canada, Europe, Russia, areas like that. And we can see that through the model run here, through the next, I don't even know how many days this is, I guess 15 days or so. We can see that it stays negative the whole way through here, as we can see. So it does not go below this line at all, or it does not go above. So we see a negative AO the entire time Arctic oscillation, which means Arctic air is going to be available to head into the United States, Canada, Russia, Europe, like I mentioned. Now, NAO. This is mostly a blocking oscillation that allows that cold air to sit over the eastern United States. This allows for a really great nor'easter snowstorms oftentimes in its negative phase. And as we can see, this one also stays in its negative phase. And it, honestly, as we approach the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 12th, 13th time frame, I know that was a mouthful, it even heads further negative towards -3 and even approaches -4 potentially there as we approach that 7th, 8th, 9th time frame. Now, the interesting thing, I haven't talked about teleconnections as far as charts in a long time, but we have to give it some lag room. Usually when you see this dive negative, it's not going to just instantly bring cold air to the east. Usually you want to give it about 2 to 3 to 4 days, but perhaps to see the effects of what we're seeing here on the chart. So let's say it dives to negative on the 6th here. We probably wouldn't start to see that until after the 10th. Around the 10th time frame is when we'd really start to see the effects of that. Now, that means that kind of plays into that, that obviously after the 10th, we could see some colder air moving in. And even the AO here, I'm moving back, but we see this is a little bit more around -1 and 2. And this does move down towards -3 and 4 as well during that similar time frame. 3 and 4 even goes below 4 around the 9th and 10th time frame. So after the 10th is looking quite promising for some Arctic air to be available. Now, the most promising out of all of this is when we combine this with our PNA, which, as you can see, remember I just talked about a minute ago, it's a neutral line. In its negative phase, that means the colder air is going to be more inclined to go to the west, right? and warmer air heading into the east. But we can see through this entire model run here, it's trending to where it gets basically to positive from where it's at, which is far negative through the model run. So this entire 15-day period, this PNA looks more and more promising towards the end, where it gets to neutral, and that's going to mean a lot more cold air heading towards the east as opposed to just the west. You know, neutral, you're going to see your fair share around the country usually. Positive is going to be warm for the west overall and cold for the east overall, and it looks like it's trending in that direction alongside the NAO and AO, which again look very, very promising. Hopefully, I know this stuff gets confusing. Hopefully, I've described it well enough and educated you guys good enough over the course of this video to where you kind of understand what I'm talking about here. Let me know if you want me to go over these teleconnections more often in the comments or less often if it doesn't make sense to you. Let me know you guys' thoughts because I don't do this a lot, but it is a very important part of the weather and could be a helpful tool for us to use at least weekly or, you know, every few days just to go over things. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to like the video, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.